Hello, and welcome back to our podcast. Slowly getting into 2025, and I hope, with much zest, and more enthusiasm. My name is Dr. Alison Chiwara. I am the CEO and founder of Human Focus Limited, a company that is dedicated to creating really happy and healthy workforces and workplaces all around, as well as amazing communities. Today, I really want us to tap into the idea of breaking the barriers that have held us back in 2025. In particular, overcoming that fear of change. So wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's the vibrant streets of perhaps Nairobi, the peaceful shores of New Zealand, or the bustling cities of India, thank you for taking time to connect. This is your space and a place that I hope will leave you inspired, challenged, and renewed. Last week, we spoke about setting the tone for the year, choosing alignment, and creating space for real growth. Well, today, we're going to look into something equally just as important, yet I feel and I believe is often misunderstood. So the idea of breaking barriers and overcoming the fear of change. Let me start with this. Change is not the enemy. Fear is actually. Greek philosophy has it that the only constant in life is change. Did you hear that? The only constant in life is change. Yet, despite its inevitability, change is something that many of us resist. We know it is constant, so why do we resist it? Why? Because for some, it disrupts our comfort zones and the challenges that come with the comfort zones. And it also shifts our sense of control. Stephen Bartlett touched on a topic on his podcast last week on changing the narrative of the imposter syndrome into one that is positive, into a growth narrative. You are qualified to be where you are. That change that you're feeling, that change that you're experiencing is growth. It's growth. Change is the one thing in life that is constant. I want us to pause for a moment. Think about maybe that one time in your life when you went through some enormous change. It could be maybe moving jobs, arrival of a new member of the family, losing somebody, maybe starting your own business, maybe dreaming of a new business venture. That change, maybe the change in your circumstances for the better, just think of it. Was it exhilarating? Did it terrify you? Did it then lead you to somewhere completely unexpected? I don't know. Please hold on to that thought as we move forward. So, just what did that moment feel for you when you were going through those changes in your life or changes in your processes if you're at work? I really love the idea of traveling around the world with you while we are seated in the comfort of our own homes. So let's travel to the Andes Mountains of South America, where the Incan culture believed in the power of the Pachacuti. Pachakuti, Pachacuti. A time of huge upheaval and lots of change. The Pachacuti wasn't seen as a disaster, but as a chance to rebuild and to emerge stronger from what they just experienced. What if we could view our own lives in that same manner? Not as a massive disruption, but as an opportunity to reimagine who we are, rethink, redefine who we are, given that moment of change. There's a powerful analog I really want to share with you. I love analogs and I love little stories in between. Think of, I always use analogs even in my workshops, and people, I hope, always have that stick with them. So I'm going to introduce more analogs in the podcast as we move on. Think of a snake shading its skin. So it's shedding its skin. For that snake, this process isn't optional. They have no choice over that process of change. It's essential for those snakes to go through that because it's actually a sign of growth and it's an opportunity for survival. The old skin become restrictive. So whatever skin you're in at points restricts you and you have to change. And it's only by letting go of that old skin can a snake move forward. Do you see that? Do you hear that? So think of a snake shedding its skin in order for it to grow and move forward, because it becomes restricted because of the changes that is happening within it. It has to shed off the old skin for it to move forward. That is growth. Ask yourself, what old skin am I holding on to? Perhaps from 2024 or yesteryears. Perhaps it's a fear of failure, a limiting belief, or even a relationship that's no longer nourishing you. It no longer serves you. So here, fear of change often stems from what we don't know, the unknown. And as humans, like I always say, we are wired to seek safety. And it's that feeling of the unknown that makes us feel the opposite of safe. But here's a truth that has guided me, and I think I did a podcast on this, is that growth and comfort cannot coexist. And I know this far too well. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. So let me take you to another corner of the world. I did start off by saying whether you're tuning in New Zealand, because I wanted to touch on the extraordinary world of the Maoris. They have a saying. I'm gonna try this, okay? It says, "Waia te iti kaurangi ke te tuhu koe me maunga te te," which means, because I don't think Maori was very good, let me translate it. It means seek the treasure you value most dearly. Seek the treasure you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it to be a lofty mountain. So seek the treasure that you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. This tells us that pursuing meaningful change often requires a lot of bravery. It requires a certain level of willingness and intention to face the challenges that come on with it. Okay? I want us to pause for a small wee thought. I want to challenge you right now to name one barrier in your life. Say it loud and write it down. Name it. You have? So naming it is the first step to breaking it. You have to identify it. Then we start breaking it. And here's a little tip, or tool rather. It's a 10-second rule, okay? When you fear change, or when that fear creeps in you, Pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, what is the worst that could possibly happen? What is the worst that could possibly happen? Then flip it. What is the best outcome that could possibly come out of this? And often, we'll find that our fears shrink when we examine them very closely. Think of a bride who is so anxious about her wedding, who is so nervous about the date she doesn't quite know how it will turn out. Imagine her reversing that fear into, it's going to be the most extraordinary day of my life. What can possibly go wrong? I am going to marry the person that I've so wanted to marry all my life. What could possibly be the worst thing then? But what could possibly be the best thing is the better narrative. And it's often in that moment of examination that those fears begin to shrink. And I will turn back to the amazing Rumi, who I absolutely adore, the poet. Rumi says, try not to resist change. I say this in my last podcast, and I will say it again. Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. Change is not something that is just happening to you. It's something that is happening for you. It's not to you, it's for you. How beautiful is that? And this week, I really want us, included myself, to take one bold step, just one bold step. It doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to be something extraordinary. Maybe it's just starting that conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe exploring that new skill that you've been saying, you know what, I want to do this. Like for me, Excel spreadsheets are definitely something I need to work on. Or even just simply saying to yourself, I want to do something that is unfamiliar to me. Or even affirming things to yourself, affirming those positive vibes to yourself. Just one bold step, doing something different. Remember, it's not saying here that fear is pointless. Is that courage too isn't just about the absence of fear. It actually takes away from the fear because it's about moving forward. It's about moving forward, taking those steps, stopping to rethink, and shrinking that idea of the fear within you, twisting to the opposite of what it could be in a positive vibe. I'll leave you with this thought. Caterpillars don't become butterflies by staying the same, do they? They have to endure a whole process of metamorphosis. And they are just trusting the process, even when they don't actually understand it themselves. And I want to believe that so can you. Continue to dream anew and continue to seek ways of breaking through the barriers that hold you back. Because 2025 is for those that are bold enough to think big and move past their barriers. Until next time, please just keep moving forward. And it's just about taking one step of faith in yourself, one little courageous step at a time. One little step a day or week. And you know what? You become the butterfly that everybody will marvel about somewhere in the future. From me to you, it's goodbye for now. From Human Focused Limited, to your organization, to your household, your communities. It's goodbye for this week. Until next time, take care.